have more direct control over the bid assessments that are collected. The manner in which the bid assessments are currently collected, or the city collects the bid assessments from the businesses that are located within the bid, which is along Main Street between 4th Street and 8th Street. And at this time, city staff is paying the invoices, the expenditures that are incurred by the bid. We do provide to the council through your redevelopment board agenda a report on a quarterly basis at this time as far as activities and expenditures that the bid is incurring. As you will note in this agreement, the bid board has agreed, should we enter into this agreement, to provide a bi-weekly report where they indicate the revenues that they are collecting from the city, should the agreement be approved, and also the expenditures and activities. So they have committed to have that report provided to us and in turn provided to you so you can see the activity. If I can point out, currently the bid advisory board consists of 14 downtown business owners. The business owners individually have over 10 years of experience in managing their respective businesses. When you take that experience collectively, they obviously have an extensive experience in terms of business management. Therefore, staff feels comfortable that they will be able to operate and manage the bid assessments in the proper manner. Also, as included in the agreement, they have established the financial management system to be able to adequately record the revenues received and also the expenditures. They have also agreed to conduct a yearly financial review and provide that information to the city, and again provide a monthly or bi-weekly revenue and expenditure report along with activities that demonstrates what they are using the funding for. Also, they have hired a professional bookkeeper in order to maintain adequate records of their revenues and expenditures. And they have also committed to taking on the responsibility of collecting any bid assessments that have not been collected. Basically, those are the highlights of the agreement and the item before you. It is staff's recommendation that this council consider approving the adoption of this agreement for the downtown bid. And we do have representatives from the bid board present in case there's any questions you may have for them.
At this point, Mr. Mayor, I'll pass and reserve the opportunity to come back to us.
Mr. Silva? Is there any type of financial liability that the city would incur by giving away these services to the goods?
Actually, it is throughout California. You have business improvement districts that are established, and actually, in looking at other communities, it is very rare to see that the city is the one handling the bookkeeping for them. You typically have either one nonprofit that's working on behalf of the bid, which is managing and handling this type of arrangement, or you have the bid board, which has been appointed by the city council when the bid was originally established. You do have them basically managing the bid assessments. One of the things to keep in mind is the bid assessments are basically an assessment that the businesses have decided to impose on themselves. So it's business revenue that they have decided that they want to utilize for a variety of reasons for the benefit of the bid.
No, I'm thinking more in terms of a worst case scenario, and not that this would happen. But,
sure.
Conceivably, what if they have some expenses that they fail to pay, and can the city ultimately incur that liability, and the vendor come up to the city for funds?
I don't believe that would be the case, because it's not city general fund money that basically you are relinquishing to them. It's an assessment that they in turn are paying, but perhaps maybe Mr. Hernandez could mention if there is any kind of financial liability.
If the bid were to incur debt,
Right.
and not pay their debts, would the city then be looked to, or RDA or somebody be looked to satisfy those debts on behalf of the city?
Typically, no. We're not in a joint venture agreement with them with regard to this. We are administering the funds, no doubt, but the city's liability wouldn't extend beyond and include other type of debt instrument that I can see even being tried, and I'm not being very, going fanciful on this, factoring is probably the only thing that even comes close to this. But even then, they would require the collector of the funds to sign that, so we have to participate formally.
And also, if I read this correctly, the bid will also be responsible for the collection of the dues or fees.
They will be responsible for any bid assessments that have not been collected on the time of national collections. It's past delinquent accounts. That's correct.
Do we have any kind of monitoring system? Are we still saying to them that, we're going to give you this, and that we have no other responsibility, and we'll wash our hands of it?
No. Actually, that's why we have there's basically 3 safeguards that you have in this agreement. One is that you are going to get a bi-weekly or monthly report from the bid. Also, at a given time, the finance department will keep track of the revenue that is provided to the bid. At this time, we have been looking at the possibility of doing it on a monthly basis. Whatever assessments are collected on a monthly basis, it will be turned over to the nonprofit, to the Centro Downtown Business, Centro Downtown Incorporated. So there will be, from our end, an accountability as to the revenue that's provided to them. Then in turn, they will be providing that report to us. Then you have also on a yearly basis, prior to us starting the renewal process for the bid, a budget that is prepared. They are currently providing that budget to us already, but in the budget you also see what kinds of expenditures and revenues are expected to be collected. And then finally you have the financial review, which shows the accountability of the revenues and the expenses.
When you say financial review, we still don't do, the city does not do an audit to verify.
The city would not, the city staff would not do it. They would be an independent party that basically the nonprofit would hire to do the review.
No matter how we attempt to differentiate ourselves, I think that any time we talk about the bid in downtown, people automatically assume that it is affiliated with the city. And given that close association, I would like to see the city receive copies of any notices given to businesses downtown with regard to the delinquency. I think that we don't want to micromanage, but on the other hand, I think we need to be mindful of the tone and mindful of the content of those notices. Way to get somebody to do something and that encourages their participation. That's another thing to beat them over the head with a stick to get them to comply. So I'd like to see notices provided to the city, copies of notices of anything that's provided to the downtown business owners, also provided to the city for your review and comment. The other question I had is whether or not there was going to be any provision if they are to hire staff. We already know they have the bookkeeper, but if they were to hire additional staff, is there a prohibition from having members of the advisory board serve in a paid capacity as well? I think we would want to avoid that kind of self-dealing between members of the board also being able to serve in a paid capacity with the organization. I don't know if that's something that we need to add to the agreement.
Well, there's certainly provision that prohibits the conflict of interest or the appearance of a conflict, and in my estimation, that would certainly appear to be a conflict.
Right, and I've read that, but I wonder if we could spell it out in a